Look, now we've got Yuga, and Yuga's released this very complicated mechanic, which is going on right now. And I think there's a lot of misconceptions. Um, and I want to try and help give a bit of guidance. I'm by no means the top authority on this, but I have been researching. I have been in quite a few spaces dedicated to this. And, on the one side of it, you can praise them and say, they're doing the first gamified interactive mint in the space. They've always been the first, and good for them, and well done. And I think there's merit in that. The other side of it is, look, this is incredibly complicated. Yes, the average person can understand it, but is the average person going to spend 5 hours that is needed to properly understand it? That's the question. Now, with the game being launched, and we're going to discuss it, and I'm going to show you gameplay, there's currently, when I was checking it, 9,500 people currently playing. So a lot of people are playing into it. Now, the interesting thing that you need to know about the sewer pass specifically is that you do not need a bored ape, a mutant, a kennel cub, or any Yuga asset in order to play the Dookey Dash game. All you need is one of these tickets, one of these sewer passes. So these sewer passes were given to holders of those assets, of the Yuga assets, and depending on what assets you had, you would get a different tier sewer pass. The highest tier is tier 4. You needed a bored ape and a kennel club. The lowest tier is tier 1. You just needed a mutant. And tier 2 and 3 is in between those two, right? So there's definitely a premium on the higher tiers. So all these green ones are tier 1s. And basically they give you a percentage boost in the game that you can get more points in the game. Now, the winner of the game is going to be one winner, and he's going to win a key. And that key is going to be worth a lot of money because there's only one person who's going to win it. However, everyone who comes in second place, third place, fifth place, 1,000th place is going to get a reward across the board. So as long as you enter the Dookey Dash game, even if you enter it once and get the worst score, you are guaranteed of a reward. Your rarity of that NFT, what will become an NFT, and I'm going to speculate what that's going to be now, your rarity of that is going to differ because you've got a lower score, you'll have a lower rarity, but you're going to win from these sewer passes and playing the games a power supply, and that power supply is going to turn into something. So we saw these sewer passes. You can see there's 20,000 currently available. The mint for sewer passes is still open to Bored Ape Yacht Club and Mutant Ape Yacht Club holders all the way up until the 8th of February. Mm-hmm. So there's still time that this will increase further. If we think that there's 10,000 bored apes and 20,000 mutants, there's potentially 30,000 sewer passes that will be minted. Yeah. I imagine it will end up being about 26,000. Right, that's usually the percentage, quite a high percentage, but there's always about 10% or 15% that don't even know they have a bored ape in their wallet or whatever the story might be.
Yeah.
So if we just have a look at the analytics of this collection alone, just looking at the analytics, you've got a 55% unique count. They went all the way down to 1.1 Ethereum. They're currently sitting at 2 ETH. You can see over here that there are listings about 120 to get to 2.1 Ethereum. And the amount of sales in the last hour have been slowing, 8:24. 29. Yeah. Is going to be interesting to continue watching this. But I think a lot of people think they need a Yuga asset in order to play the game, and they don't yet realize that all they really need is a sewer pass.
Yeah. Yep. Dude, can I say this one thing about the sewer pass? I think it's I'm not wait, please, if you don't mind, could you go to the what's the price difference from tiers? You may have said that a second ago. Maybe I zoned out, but I don't think you did. What's the price difference? Because people had to buy certain assets to get certain levels of the sewer pass, you said. I wonder if it was worth spending extra 7, 8, 9, 10 ETH on a kettle.
No. The kennel is a booster. Sure. So your tier 1, let's just say 2 Ethereum. You got one guy's listed at 1929, but the next sells 2. So that's
and then you pay 10 ETH to get the highest tier. What's the difference in price to the highest tier? Is it 10 ETH? 10 ETH, baby?
No, we're going to look at 2. Let's look at tier 2 first.
Oh,
Tier 2 is 2.4
okay.
Ethereum.
All right.
I think tier 4 is about 6. Tier 3 is 3.2 Ethereum
All right.
currently. And tier 4, I think it's about 5.5 to 6. Well, it's gone up.
Damn.
It's 6,
Well,
6.1.
so do you remember when Meme Land dropped and a lot of people, I think you were included in that. A lot of people were saying 10 ETH because of the amount of potatoes it costed to get that should equal captains being about 10 ETH, and I was thinking 5 ETH would be like the top. It turns out neither of us were right. It ended up going to like
no,
right in the
you
middle
were
of that.
you were much more right. No, you were right. They're sitting at 5 ETH, but they were at about 6.5. But you know what wasn't taken into account, where my logic was wrong. I thought that potatoes would lose a lot more value after the captain's mint. But potatoes floor is still 2 Ethereum. So I was saying, okay, 3 Ethereum times 3, 9 Ethereum. Okay, they're going to go to 0, because now you've used your mint pass. But they've done an incredible job in encouraging people to hold those potatoes for further benefit. So the potatoes only lost 1 Ethereum each that you could have sold all 3 of them and gotten 6 ETH back. So you actually were only 3 ETH invested. So then, yes, the floor will be 4 to 5 Ethereum. That's where I went wrong. I assumed that the potatoes would go down a lot more to like half an ETH or something to that effect.
Yeah, I'm surprised the potatoes are holding too. There might be information I'm missing on the potatoes. Otherwise, I'm like, why would you hold these? I don't get it.
No, so they have said there's going to be huge future benefit. They've also done stuff that like that Memeland approach has been completely unique to anything that we have seen before. So it's really quite interesting to see that, right? Because it's done incredibly well. And they were selling their 100 OG ones for 5 Ethereum before they minted anything, which was really, really interesting, right? Just things that you can know. Just the sewer pass mint alone has made.
You're not sharing your screen, by the way.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Just the sewer pass mint alone has made over $20 million in sales secondary, which is showing you that they're still there. Okay, let's get into the exciting part of this.
How much fucking money can you raise for a company and it still work? I don't get it. How are they still selling shit, bro?
So if you have a look over here, the game is now live. Live, you can play, you can go buy a sewer pass if you want, and you can play straight away. So first of all, here's the announcement. This was about 24 hours ago. Board Ape Yacht Club says the sewer is open. Sewer pass holders, go to dookeydash.xyz as many times as you want until February the 8th. I've heard guys are literally like putting on adult diapers and not sleeping for the next 3 weeks. I'm not joking with you. There's a handful of guys that are going for that key. For that one.
Dude, if I was rich as fuck and I had nothing else to do but do DJ and stuff, I probably would too, honestly.
Yeah. So I don't have a sewer pass, but what I have got for you is footage, right? So if we have a look here, you would click in, you'd verify your sewer pass asset, and this is what would happen over here. And a lot of guys have been saying that the game is really fun to play. It's really addictive. It's really pretty simple to play. You've got your Jimmy guard over there. So this is the trial of Jimmy the monkey. The dog is there the prophet is there to help you and guide you along. Here, in theory, you're in a sewer. You can't hit in, so you can't hit into things, and you're looking for assets in the sewer and treasures in it. Another part of this, which is quite interesting, is you can use Ape Coin and it's not a lot of Ape. I think it's 2 Ape Coin or whatever it may be to get a 10-minute advantage, a power up. There's 3 different types of power ups, but you can only use them from when you purchase it for 10 minutes. So the interesting thing to see is what the price of ApeCoin itself is going to do, because for the first time you have real utility for ApeCoin. And, I imagine as guys get more into this and the top 100 or 200 who are fighting for the top place to get that key would be more than happy to spend a good amount of Ape to do it.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. We have seen Ape go up 7% in the last 24 hours, but we have also seen Bitcoin and Ethereum go up 3.5% and 1%, respectively. So you can say maybe that, 3% of ApeCoin's increase is just a general bullish crypto sentiment that we've seen in the last 24 hours, but another 3 to 4% is as a result of this directly. So it's going to be interesting to see. Obviously, high risk, you never know. And this is the game, bro. Very simple, endless game. You got to try get past the obstacles. Your score is recorded. There's a leadership board. You can check your score versus other people. You can see once you register a score where you stand in the rankings. And again, the higher your ranking, the higher rarity of your asset. If you are the highest ranking, you are going to get a key. No one knows what the key is going to give you, but there's only one. And, millions of dollars of value in that key, in my opinion.
So you have to have a sewer pass to play this. So are
only
they
a sewer pass? You don't need any other asset. Only a sewer pass.
But I'm saying even for a sewer pass, you're pricing out 99% of the empty market. So like, are only people who can play this, people who hold, are they looking to make this more mainstream?
So look, I think you got to understand, if you want to get into the proper Yuga ecosystem, the cheapest asset is a kennel club, because other deed in and of itself is its own animal. Let's leave that out. You've got Bored Apes, mutants, and kennel clubs. If you want to get into Yuga at the moment, you are going to have to spend 7 Ethereum as it stands right now. Whereas here, these went as low as 1 ETH, they're now 2 ETH. If you spend 2 ETH now, you are guaranteed of some Yuga asset at the end of this gamified thing that goes on. Then after the game ends on the 8th, there's still 4 other stages. And that's when the Kennel Club comes into it, which are before you're going to get to your Mecha Apes and Mecha Dogs, which is what people are thinking the assets for. And we're going to talk about that as well. So you can get a Yuga asset for 2 Ethereum, which is what, a third of what it will cost to get into the ecosystem otherwise. Yeah. So yes, it is still to some degree unaffordable, but at the same time, it's a lot more affordable than getting a dog.
What do you think about passes as NFTs? Do you like the token aspect of it, how it looks like a ticket, or would you rather it be a PFP or an avatar? Like, would you rather it be this Dookey character? Or would you rather it be
So this is a ticket to play the game. It's not a permanent. That's going to change into a power supply, which is then finally going to change into an asset, which we're thinking are Mecha Apes and Mecha or Mecha Dogs. What I want to ask you, Kate, is what do you think about the marketing behind this? I mean, here's the top brand in the space. Yes, they're not taking themselves too seriously at all. It's a sewer. You're looking through shit. I mean, literally the key was in the monkey's ass. Okay, yeah. I personally was like, I don't know, 40-year-old guy, this is a bit juvenile for me. I want to get your opinion as a 24-year-old guy. For the top project in the space, on the one side, they're keeping real to their roots. Everyone knows them as the company that, had the bathroom wall where you could draw, whatever to begin with. What did you think about how they've gone about this?
I just think it's less and less cool every time. Like, no matter what they do, even if it is cool, it's going to be less cool and less epic every time. So I think that's pretty much just inevitable in general, just because the Bored Apes and mutants are like so OG. And then, if you can't afford one of those, you get a kennel. And then after that, it's kind of like one of those things that, like, I didn't hear jack shit about the sewer pass, bro. I still have relatively until today not heard too much about the game of Dookey Dash at all either. I don't know, man. Like, I feel like the other side really shot them in the ass a little bit. People were like, fuck. Man, that one hurt. Like, a lot of people lost a lot of money. It left a bad taste in people's mouths. People say it doesn't matter anymore. They forgot about it, but it did. It's one of those things. Like, if you have a bad experience at a restaurant,
is that the holders of the assets got the sewer passes for free. Yes, if you didn't hold any of the assets, you have to buy in now. But it's a very different experience. I mean, look, I think on the other side, they can't win. They do a mint that's open, and the gas war was so bad that it went to absolute hell. And on the other side here, they're doing an airdrop and tickets, and it's like, I think there's always going to be fun in the space. I just know never to fade Yuga. The famous story when I got my Ape airdrop I sold it immediately at $4.50, and it went to 22 or 25 ETH before the other side launched. So I faded them. The reason I was happy to sell at that particular price was because they were valued at $5 billion. And with the circulation of Ape Coin at $4.50, it put them at a $6 billion valuation. So I thought that was fair value. I never expected it to go all the way to 25 ETH. So I've faded them before. I don't have the time to play this game. But again, you can just buy a sewer pass, play the game once, not go for a high score, and get an entry-level Yuga asset. Or you could wait until the game ends. And once the game ends and you're finished with the game, you can then buy it on the secondary, and you don't even have to, you don't have to worry about it. And if you wait a week or two after that, it will be, probably under 2 ETH on the secondary for an entry level with a low score.
Yeah. I saw Crypto Dream saying he would maybe scrape together 2 ETH to pay for that. I don't think I'm gonna do that yet. I'm trying to pick what projects I want to be buying. Like I have some liquidity on the side right now to buy. I'm looking at more imposters. I feel like imposters might be a better play for gaming, since I know for a fact we'll be making more gaming content. And I'm like, okay, which NFTs are going to help me get to that? I think Dookey Dash might. I'm not that stoked about it.
No,
I'd
if
rather
it's
get into another
gaming,
ecosystem.
then maybe other side, imposters is good. My Pet Hooligan.
My Pet Hooligan, I love, dude. I really fuck with that
It's all
project.
pretty.
I want to talk to
They're
the
all
guys
going to
over
be
there.
long-term holds. Games take a long time. Even Yuga, with all their money, nothing has really happened in the last 6 months to a year since the last gameplay on the other side. So the interesting thing here is what are you going to get after all of this, right? And again, this is all speculation. Yuga typically, releases information and doesn't give you the full story. But again, this was yesterday. They released this. Now, this is quite interesting because you've got a Bored Ape standing over here, and then he gets a suit and he becomes this.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got a dog inside here, and I would imagine this is a coda. And so, what I am thinking is that these assets are wearables. Obviously, that can then be used inside the other side when it gets there as your Bored Ape, but these are going to be wearables and not assets themselves. Now, I could be completely wrong, but I think it makes sense because I think Yuga doesn't want to dilute the ecosystem. Let's say there's going to be even further. Let's say there's going to be 25,000 sewer passes. Do they want another 25,000 NFTs floating around after this? Mm-hmm. Sorry, that's a hardy dog. It's a bird in South Africa. It's called a hardy dog.
Wait, are you serious? I thought that was your child.
Yeah. No. It's a hardy dog.
It's your kid running in trying to fuck with you. It's like, Dad, don't buy a 2 ETH NFT. That's going to be a gaming project. It's not going to go anywhere.
If one of my children came in, they would be welcome. I would stop talking. I would see what they need. They're such good kids. They would never disturb. They're sleeping. No, that's a hardy dog. And if you look in the middle over here, I will Google hardy dog after this. If you look in the middle, they've got these gold things. Now, I think that's the power sources. So I think what's going to happen, you're going to use your sewer pass. You're going to play, depending on your score, you're going to get a unique power source. Everyone's is different with unique rarity, and that will then be gamified and be turned into some form of wearable. The only question here is what happens if you don't have an ape and you're paying, and they've opened this up to everyone who has a sewer pass. Mm-hmm. Why are you going to want a wearable for an ape? So that throws my theory out the window. So not 100% sure, but then we also had Gordon tweet, the skill-based mint is just the start of this journey, and then retweeted this tweet over here.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think, bro?
Dude, with Yuga, they're just so fucking risky. They've just spread themselves so thin. Like, I don't know where they're going. I don't know. They just don't have.
I think they do, bro. I think they know where they go.
They probably do. I just don't see it yet, and I haven't seen enough info and context to their people running the project to know what any of that is. Like right now, we're just following blind faith based on the narrative.
But that's how they've always done it, and they've always over-delivered, and they've always done it that way. So anyone that's ever been rewarded for holding Yuga knows that this is the way they do it, and they're not the type to get you excited and let you down.
True. I mean, they did it with other side. I mean, they got fucked on the other side, dude. Like, it's one of those things. Like,
Yeah,
it's
they
perfect
did.
until it just doesn't go right one time, and then everyone fucks. They're like, fuck this guy, fuck this project. I don't know. There might be too much money now in this ecosystem for it to go wrong. I don't know, man. I don't know.
This is really interesting. This tweet by Van Shorts, no idea who that is. But look at this. This is from what I just showed you. And on the right here is the 10K TF pass. That's part of the Wagmi shop. And there's definitely, look at the wings. There's definitely a similarity there. We know that 10K TF and Board Ape Yacht Club have joined.
Mhm.
It's going to be interesting. There's been a lot of speculation on what this key is going to get you. But yeah, it is interesting to see that they have it does look unified to you. That does look similar.
Mhm. Yeah,
Very
it does,
interesting.
dude. It does. I think the reason this scares me is because it reminds me so much of Ugaverse. Ugaverse did this thing where they had their Genesis project. All these NFTs were in it. Everyone loved it. Their brand was strong, but they didn't do too much branding work. Very much like Board Ape Yacht Club. And it was going well until it wasn't. And then they dropped another project, basically the Mecha Apes, they were called. And it was essentially for the game. And they dropped this project. The game did really well for a little bit. And then it stopped doing well, and then people were like, "Wait, what the fuck is this?" And then it just literally crashed and has not ever come back. I think it scares me because I'm just like, where does this go? Like, what is the purpose of this sewer pack? I mean, unless
Yeah,
it's just to have fun for a few months, you know. Like, I just don't.
I hear you. I hear you so much. I really do. The difference is that Yuga is VC funded, has got a war chest of literally billions of dollars, and can deliver. Definitely can deliver. So here's where we at. We at the sewer pass stage. Then that's going to turn into an Evo 1. Then which is going to happen with the skill based game. Then there's going to be another mini game, which is an Evo 2. And then if you don't have a kennel club, you're going to only go straight to mini game set 2. But I think you can bypass that if you combine it with the Board Ape Kennel Club. So, bro, no one knows what the hell is happening, but it's got you and I talking about it. Sure. And if you look into the image, there's a lot more wording there. Make it bigger, look into it. We can speculate as much as we want, but definitely interesting, bro.
It is indeed interesting, and they're fucking storytellers, dude. They're fucking storytellers. Maybe the purpose of it is so that we don't know even close to what they want us to know because they want to string us along. Like, almost like a TV, almost like a TV show. So it's actually, I never thought about it like that. You know what? Fuck it. I take back everything I've ever said about Yuga Labs. Yuga Labs is going to the fucking moon. I'm buying a Board Ape today.
Look, if Yuga Labs goes to zero, the NFT space is pretty much dead.
You think so?
I do. I really do.
No more freestyle Fridays if Yuga goes to zero.
No, well, we can talk about how it's gone to zero and how much we miss, and we can reminisce and about the good old days when there were. The point is, I don't think it's possible. I really don't. I think they really have thought this out. They know the space well, and they always lead you on. There's always uncertainty. That's part of their thing. They have given quite a lot. I mean, if you go on their website under the FAQ section, there's a lot of information there. I've tried to summarize it for you to the best of my ability tonight. But there's a lot more there, and they have given you a lot more than they usually do. I mean, I remember with the other side, they didn't even have the FAQ on their website when the mint opened. Dude, you didn't know what was going on.
That was the worst, bro, when that happened. I was like, what is going on? They dropped the badge.
The other side to it, I was in Benjamin's spaces on Wednesday, and he really knows the Board Ape Yacht Club Yuga ecosystem better than most people. I think he's one of the leading authorities on it. And when I was saying that my concern is dilution of supply further than it is at the moment, he said he looks at it differently. He looks at this as being the lower entry level into the ecosystem. So we're talking, let's just say 6 months down the line, everyone who partook in this game, whether they had a Board Ape or not, they bought a sewer pass, they took part in this game, has now got a Yuga asset, and the floor price is, let's say, 1.5 to Ethereum. It allows a lot more people who really have always wanted to be a part of Yuga to get into it, and that even though there might be some small benefits to those holders, it's not going to be the same benefits like a Bored Ape gets or like a mutant gets. We even saw that with the dogs. The dogs by themselves, up until now, have not gotten any extra utility. They've only been sort of boosts if you already hold a mutant or a Bored Ape. So that was another perspective on it, is that, look, long term, this is bullish for them because in theory, as the market recovers, hopefully it does soon, and as things get better, those assets will go up. The Bored Apes, the mutants, and the kennel clubs will all get more unaffordable, and you need to have a lower entry level in the space. Otherwise, it becomes unaffordable for 99.9% instead of at the moment just being unaffordable for 95%. But hopefully, after the surpass, it's only unaffordable for 65% of the market.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I don't have too much to say other than what I've said about Yuga, but I'm excited to be here, man. Now I've got a much more positive outlook, though, after you mentioned the fact that, like, maybe they're doing it, like, they're stringing you along like a TV show on purpose. I guess I did think about it like that, but I never intentionally thought about it like that. So now I do kind of have a different lens on it.
It sort of, it keeps people interested, and as long as they time their news events correctly, every announcement we're seeing a pump. Like dogs were 6.9, now they're 7.9 because there's a picture of a dog in that picture that was dropped yesterday. So as long as they don't lose momentum, there is a risk of losing momentum, because even on the 8th of February, when this game is finished, there's still the other mini games and the other passes, and this is like a long process. Now, anyone would say, look, unless you Yuga, that's not a great idea. People are going to lose interest. But if they can time it properly and do it right, it's interesting. I'm watching it. Interesting to watch.